Into the roots of spirituality. The root of spirituality cannot be found in the past or in an ancient teaching. It simply cannot be found outside of you, or better, outside of I, as the pure human state of original beingness. It might appear in the presence of an awakened master, or during an intense life experience that suddenly drops you into reality. It is nothing more than reawakening in the oneness of God, or how you prefer to call the unnameable. That which is everything, nothing, and more. What we perceive outside of this state is simply an illusion. Different than, for instance, trees, animals, rocks, we human beings have received the ability to experience this state self-consciously. But we forget that since this is part of our divine nature, it is not optional. This means not being, living, acting self-consciously as a human being has serious consequences. A tension that builds up between life and human living. A tension that is now found everywhere in our human self-made reality that we know as our world. Over time, and imprinted in the evolution of our different bodies, several deformations and several layers of separation have taken place, making that which was in origin natural, simple, and obvious change to fragmented and complicated. The effects of this are everywhere in our known history, where bloodshed, violence, and dictatorships are lined up, one after the other. But few of us are aware of a similar deformation in our mind consciousness or our perception and interpretation of reality, while this is where the original separation and deformation took place. The cause of this separation can be found in the development of a specific aspect of the human psyche, and as part of the process of the incarnating collective soul. Till today, our ability of using the mind externally, while remaining fully conscious and present as I, is very immature. During the last millennia, man became more and more focused, identified, and also dependent on his newly discovered toy, while he simultaneously lost the ability to control it. In this way, shaping his external world according to his will, led by his deformed psychic state, and separate from the virtuous nature and the divine will, or the will of life. To make this possible, he created his own laws of life and adjusted science and the role and place of spirituality according to his self-created sub-identity. The new state I often called the I-mind. A psychic cluster which is nothing more than a fake replica of the original spirit being that each of us is. During this process, part of our natural human virtuousness and self-consciousness, but most of all, a large part of the natural embodiment was sacrificed. The effect of this was a human world that did not longer resonate with nature and life, but also gave birth to a spirituality that to a large extent is based on beliefs and attachments, and excludes embodied presence the world of matter, and the lower dimensions of reality. If you recognize what I am saying, the next logical question would be, well, how can I reverse this deformed state to the original one? Or maybe the more puzzling question, how can I start to remember without using the projective I mind? When trying to rediscover the root of our spirituality, our tendency is to go back in time. The idea of time we have created ourselves to control our environment and shape our world. This search will bring us back to ancient civilizations, the different beliefs and religions, and their specific masters and saints. A search that will temporarily give us an alternative for the entrapment of the world of today, but based on a new, probably even more sophisticated belief about what reality and being human truly is. Sure, there have been many wisdom traditions with great knowledge and a high state of consciousness, but they are all not here, not now, not the embodied being that you are. These dimensions only become valuable for you once you are fully present in the here and now. In the timelessness of spirituality, Atlantis and all these I-mind beliefs happened yesterday and will not lead you to your original oneness of God. The word oneness makes that clear. In order to experience the ness, you need to become the one. That means to be willing to let the totality of life, spirit, God, resonate inside of you. To become that without moving away from it, so that it can communicate, act, and live directly through you. In the alchemy lineage I am speaking from, it is contained in the symbol of the point and circle and the mantra, I am life. Do you know any spiritual master of any tradition who was a follower? I don't think so. Our intelligence and consciousness is not the problem. There is plenty of that in each of us. It is our fear to be the middle of life, while isn't this simply who you are? Through the worldly conditioning, we became afraid to be alone, because there is something in between called loneliness, meaning the attachment to emotional togetherness. But don't worry, there will be countless others on the path, but you must walk your life path completely by yourself, dressed in your full humanness. The biggest illusion in spirituality these days is to search for reuniting with God through a method or master and through the all, without you being the one or being there. It is the main reason for the build-up of tension, or to use a popular spiritual word, karma. For modern humans, this not being what we are feels harmless, but according to the laws of life, it is a huge act of arrogance. We each are uniquely formed and colored crystals that simply need to allow the light of spirit to shine through, showing our unique potential and intelligence. Letting this happen fully awakens the true potential of each being, and again, the circle and point coming together, or I am life. Then, it is essential to accept every single aspect of your crystal, while remaining clear of what is God-given and what is human interpretation and illusion. The modern way is that the I-mind selects which parts that are suitable and matching for the world. But life makes no mistakes. Every essential part of each being is useful and perfectly matching in the totality of beingness. Even if we don't understand it, only through living it, the full potential comes alive, and what looked useless often becomes the most valuable. So, is there no belief needed to return to the root of spirituality? That's something that students ask me regularly. Well, no, there is not. It is all direct experience. Tell me, do you need to believe in life? Do you need to believe in nature? Of course not. It's just there. So, as I mentioned in the beginning, this whole talk is not about telling you what the root of spirituality is, not to believe me, but rather sharing with you from that place so that you might recognize it in your own experience. So, how did I get there, or better, here? After studying and practicing different Eastern and Western wisdom traditions, my presence and awareness was sufficiently strong and refined to reconnect to the intelligence I belong to. I will elaborate on that in a future talk, and yes, that means that I have always been there, just as you are. The point and circle is one of the key symbols in this. Besides that it was used as such by the ancients of many spiritual traditions, it is actually representing the boundaries of human perception. Everything we know of lies between all, represented by the circle, and one, represented by the point. Let's check this. Is there anything more than everything? And is there anything less than the smallest point? Obviously not. Both mark the boundaries of our mind perception before it dissolves into what we call nothingness. The circle and point show as two, but actually represent the Holy Trinity, or the three in one. The three are the circle representing the cosmic mind and heaven, while the point is the body in its unity with the earth. The space and light in between point and circle is related to nature and the light of the soul. The background would be where the Trinity is birthed from, the spiritual realm. When we talk about who I am, in my experience, each of us is a unique expression of this trinity of body, soul, mind, coming together and originating in spirit. When linking this to modern spirituality, we see that it is mainly based on the circle mind and the soul light, but hardly on the body. So that is where our potential lies. We have tried to trick the divine plan by simply moving from the darkness of the point and the body to the lightness of the mind and the circle. But the task is to be the self-conscious being in existence that brings dark and light, point and circle together. It requires that we return to the body, the earth, the lower dimensions, which are all feminine by nature, and learn how to awaken them in our consciousness and in every aspect of our lives. This is not difficult, but for the I-mind, unacceptably simple. Do you recognize the logic and simplicity? The recognition is the memory. It starts off a process of reuniting with nature, with life, with spirit, leading to what always has been right there, the oneness of God.